Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How you doing, man? How you doing? How you doing?
Good on you. I'm just missing you a little bit since you went back to PE.
I know, right? I like it was for those of you who are swipe in, say what's up. So me and 80, I was actually staying with her when I was in Cape Town. So like two
He's
weeks
my
back
roomie.
and this past weekend.
He's my roomie. Honey, I'm home.
It was actually a vibe. It was weird how we went from we've never actually met or interacted much to being like two peas in a pod instantly.
Yeah, the man dances in my kitchen. He can stay. He was doing a Zumba for me.
Let's not expose me now. Let's not expose me in front of everybody.
Lol, they've all seen it. They've all seen it. I hope. Guys,
It became a tradition after I
surprising.
did it.
He's surprisingly good for like a large human being.
It was yeah. I had to like get in touch with my inner rhythm to be able to
Check
pull
out
that off and not.
the inner power lifter went on holiday, and the inner arriba came out.
Listen, I have like I don't even dance like that alone in my own house. Like I just
Well,
don't dance. So that was
you
that was
did
that
it
was
for
that was a
me.
thing.
Yeah, Simone got you.
Said properly. It was actually Amy. Like she didn't even give me a
Was it?
choice. She was like, "Hey, you're in Cape Town. We're seeing you at Zumba next week." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And
Facts,
then
facts.
she said it in front of Rachel, and then it was like it's game over. I couldn't get
Yeah,
myself
no.
out of it.
Once Rachel's on board with something, it's happening.
No, I could. No matter how hard I tried, and believe me, I tried
Yes,
hard.
Queen.
I
Yeah.
But hello, everyone. Swipe in. Let us know you're here. Wilma, hello,
Hello.
Leslie. Hope you're doing well. Leslie, when are you coming
Hello.
back to me, man? Like, I feel like we promised to keep back in touch because Leslie was a client of mine and we
Oh
were doing
no.
well. And she was like, "We're taking a break. I'll be back." I'm
But
still
when
waiting
are
for
you
the
coming
back.
back?
Just saying. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tune you on the live in front of everybody when you're coming back.
It's about time. Summer buddies are made in the winter, guys. Get
Summer
into
bodies
it.
are made in winter. And she had like, to be fair to her, amazing progress. Look freaking amazing. But I remember those what were they called? Those strength finder things we did. Were you around when we did that?
No, 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 no.
I think
No,
you had just missed that. So we did this whole
yeah,
thing
must have.
where we at our last little Jeff Massive quarterly meeting, we did a whole strength finder thing to find which personality traits
Oh,
are
yes, I
most
heard of it.
dominant in it.
Yes, but
So one of
I did miss it.
so one of mine is I'm a maximizer. I like taking things from decently good to like excellent, and that's my trait.
So
So every
basically,
time
you
someone
want
comes to me like, "Hey, like listen, I look decently good, but I want to look better." I'm like, "Yes, this is
let's
this is
go.
my favorite part."
Let's go.
I like putting the finer details on things.
Yeah.
That's my jam. That's my
So
jam.
basically, Leslie, he's telling you to come back so that he can like dot his I's and cross his T's and get you into best condition of your life.
Let's go from the 9.5 to a 10. Let's excel here. Let's excel
Sure, if
here.
you're taking people to tens there, I'll join your coaching stable.
Listen, I don't mean to brag, but like, your
But
boy's
I'm
got some
pretty good at
skills.
what I do.
But tell me, like, what's your favorite aspect of like coaching and stuff? Like, what's your passion around it?
So, my favorite part is definitely talking to my clients. I think that the connections that I build with the clients and my clients specifically is definitely what makes my day every day. Listening to their gossip, listening to their life stories, having a little check in with their kids in the morning, like when they send their like post workout videos, and I've got like
Yeah.
different people's kids popping in to say how's it. Like it really makes you feel like you are such an integral part of their day. And to me, that is just like it makes it feel so worth it. It makes you feel like feel so appreciated and so like a part of their family. And like, like this is really their family have bought into this. It's like they love the fact that their mom is doing this journey or their dad is doing this journey and they want to say hi to the coach. And it's so rad. I love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
It's I was like, we're in a very privileged position where we are to be able to like peer into other people's family
I
life like
know. We become such an important part of their lives though, which is what's so like amazing, because like, you know, we've got all these clients and you'd think like, okay, if you have like 40 clients, like how much are you really putting in? But like you actually build the most amazing relationships with people, because every single day you are engaging with them, you know what's going on. If they're going through a difficult time, you're the first person to hear about it. So like the amount of relationships that we have the opportunity to form, like it's amazing. It's the best. I love that part of the job. I love it.
it's actually crazy. And that's why like I was telling a friend of mine why being a coach is very demanding, because it's you are split between a lot of different people, but like it's like I pride myself in like no one's a number to me. It's like
No,
no,
yeah.
I know you as a person. I
Yeah,
want to
oh
get to know
no,
you
I'm
as a person.
fully invested. Like, what is going on in your life? Tell me. I'm a part of it now. Like, this is my show here now. Like, tell me more. Tell me everything.
I like making this joke with everyone every time I work with someone new. It's like, okay, what are your
Yeah,
goals? And they'll go on and they're like, okay, my goal is to do this and my goal is to
yeah,
do that. To be like, right, that is now our goal. Because a win for
yeah.
you is a win for me, and I love winning. So we're
Let's
how come
run.
hell or high
Yeah,
water, we're achieving that goal.
we're getting it. Yeah, no, that's it. It is. It's so that's really special for me. Um, is just becoming a part of their lives. And then I think what I love is that I get to I'm really passionate about like the mindset side of it. So I get to, you know, work quite closely with my clients on like making sure that their body isn't only getting healthier, and um you know, they're not only eating healthier food and doing better movements and getting fitter and stronger, but like they're also becoming more self-confident, they're becoming more self-aware, they're
Mm.
becoming, you know, they're getting to know themselves through the journey. And I think that that's like something that just stands out for me unbelievably so, because that is where my passion is. I'm got a background in psychology and personal training, so the two combined is like put me and got me to this point. And yeah, it's a privilege to be doing
I
it.
must admit, because I walked in on one of your client calls because you were having a client call in like the living room, and I
Yeah,
couldn't hear what the client was saying, but I was hearing your responses. And I was saying like you really do delve quite deeply into the whole mindset and psychology of what this journey is
yeah.
about. It was
No,
actually really impressive to hear.
no. So in my first check-ins, I mean, yeah, I'll get you to send your pictures in, and I'll get you to upload your measurements. Obviously, that's standard protocol. But like often, I won't even look at them. Like to me, it's not about like the changes physically in that first month. Like those follow. What it's about is changing mentally, changing your habits, changing that space of like, you know, people often come to us feeling really awful about themselves, and they've kind of reached this point of desperation of like, I'm so uncomfortable in my skin, I'm so uncomfortable with my life, like, um you know, people often only reach out when they reach that rock bottom, which is sad, but like it gives us this platform to work from. Like the only way is up. And that's why, like, you know, yes, we see phenomenal changes in that first month. Often we see the biggest changes in that first month, but often that's not even something I look at. It's like, how have you changed in the last month? What's different about your life? What's different about the way you feel about yourself? What's different about when you're waking up in the morning? Like, that's what I really care about, because once we've changed those things, the rest follows. It comes. If you can change those things, and change your mindset, and you can get a sort of habitual patterns of behavior around that positive mindset and that positive self-esteem, the rest will come for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That will empower you to make the biggest change in yourself. So
And what I love most about that approach is it's if you get that part of it right, the whole mental shift, the habit change, then once you achieve your goal, there's absolutely no reason why you're going to fall back,
oh yeah,
because you weren't doing this so you could be 10 kilos lighter. You were doing it to be healthier, to be
absolutely.
happier, to be better overall.
No, and if you were doing it to be 10 kgs lighter, cool. But how did you get 10 kgs overweight in the first place? It's not just from eating too much. It's from not intuitively understanding what your body needs. It's from not having that self-awareness. It's from not feeling good about yourself to want to nourish yourself properly. Or it's from a lack of knowledge. You know, there's so many reasons, but none of them are physical. None of them are because you were just 10 kgs overweight. That's not what happens. You're 10 kgs overweight for a reason. Let's tackle that reason. Let's have a look at how you got there. Let's undo all those sort of psychological, that stitch work, take you right back to basics, and let's, you know, create this new pattern of healthy living where you lose 10 kgs and you don't pick them back up again.
I love the way you break things down, man. That's such a, and it's so true. Like you didn't just pick up 10 kgs overnight for no reason. There were like deep-seated reasons as to why you ended up that way.
Absolutely. Always. Always. Something, everything, nothing just is. It always is because of. We need to find that because of. Otherwise, nothing that we do as a coach, as a client, will stick. We need to get to the bottom of it. We need to undo those patterns of behavior that got you there and like form and build and practice new patterns of behavior. So that is what I do, and I love it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I know you're also quite passionate about in a family context, the whole family buying into that process as well. It's not about like I'm the mom and I want to lose 5 kilos, but like everyone else can eat whatever they've been eating. I'm the one with the problem.
No, I'll tell you something, is that most of us, specifically girls, I'll be honest with you, and men, I'm not taking away from that at all, but, you know, we do have difficult relationships with our bodies and with food and with our self-image. And it's really unfortunate because it's what society did to us. But, you know, what's difficult about it is that it's often also generational trauma. Like you'll often hear people who are so uncomfortable in their skin have really early memories of, you know, people or even their parents, predominantly their parents, sort of chastising them about their weight and what they look like. And it's awful. But the thing is that, you know, then you've got this lady who, or this man, or this human being who feels awful about the way they look. They're living on diets, various different diets, constantly yo-yoing, constantly chastising themselves because they've got this internal voice that they've now inherited as their own. And then your family and your children get exposed to that. And that's horrible. They don't want to hear that because that then becomes their internal voice and they start doing the same thing. So this is not just about you. This is about the legacy you're leaving with your children. You know, if you can eat healthily, treat yourself with respect, treat yourself with kindness, you know, talk to yourself with positive affirmations. Those are then voices that your children will also start to internalize and speak to themselves in the same way. And they will never get to a point where they're like, oh shit, oh shucks, I'm severely overweight and I need to lose it. You get what I mean? It's so it's all about, sorry, someone's just come into the room. It's my dad and he wants a cell phone and I'm working from their house. Yeah, so that was distracting, sorry, and someone's vacuuming in the background. So yeah, it really is about involving the family. You know, if your children are learning to eat healthily and understanding portion sizes, and you know, it's not this like overt way of teaching them to eat. It's very covert. You know, you're doing it on the sly. You're dishing them healthy food. They're understanding, you know, this is the right portion size for me. They're not hearing their mother or their father berating the way they eat or the way they look. And they never have the disfortune or misfortune of developing those really uncomfortable dialogues and narratives with themselves and those really awful relationships with food and their body.
Because I often have this conversation with a couple of my clients who are parents. And it's like, listen, like, I understand kids are kids and you have to let kids be kids. Absolutely. But you also, in you trying to make them happy temporarily in the moment, you also have to think about their long-term happiness as well. So Absolutely. It's like, there's no use you nourishing your body properly, you're eating properly, you're monitoring how much junk you're intaking, but your kids can have all the chocolate and fizzy drinks that they want. Kind of like all you're doing is setting them with bad habits young that they're going to grow up having the rest of their lives.
What's good for you is good for your kids. There's such amazing resources these days on, you know, feeding children and child-led weaning and child-led eating and things like that. And yes, there's nothing wrong with giving your child a fish fingers for dinner with tomato sauce, but put that little bit of broccoli on the plate, put that little bit of steamed carrot, you know, get them to explore these things and get them to partake with you. So whatever you make for yourself, dish that little bit up for them, not an overwhelming portion size that you're forcing them to eat, but say, if you would like to taste it, that's it. That's what mommy's eating. That's what daddy's eating. This is what it is. It's so good for you because carrots are really good for your eyesight. And, you know, it's got nothing to do with weight. It's got nothing to do with the way they look. But it's just the way that we frame food for children and create those narratives, which is so important.
I think you are the one who taught me the trick of telling clients, like, if your child is involved in the process of making the food, oftentimes you're a lot more keen to eat it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is huge. Like, people will often say, like, oh, it's so difficult to prep my food because my kids just don't eat it. So now I'm cooking 3 different meals. And I'm like, the biggest secret is children love. I mean, if a child makes a mud pie, it's going to flipping taste the mud pie. It's going to be eating soil. So if your child is making your Jeff lasagna, your child's going to try the Jeff lasagna. They've made it. They've been an integral part of making that dish. So if your child's not old enough to chop, get them to mix or break up or put the spices in or just mix everything together. So you can have your pre-chopped ingredients and they can just throw it all into the bowl or whatever the case is. But when a child's involved in that cooking process, they are so much more likely to eat the food. And also it gives you bonding time with your children instead of taking away from time that you would have been able to spend with them. And yeah, it gets them excited about trying new foods and working with new foods. And even if they don't eat it that day, it's familiarizing them with it. So you put that tiny drop on their plate. They might not eat it that day. They might not eat it the next day. They might then make it again with you 3 days later. And then suddenly they are, suddenly they're trying it. And that's all we can ask for, hey?
That's all we can ask for. It's a process. I mean, like, it's
absolutely.
You're raising your kids is a multifaceted. You're trying to make sure they're safe. You're trying to make sure they're healthy. You're trying to make sure they're happy. It's a very complicated thing, but it's something that you're going to work on every single day.
No, absolutely. And I know I've, you know, from not any, no spoiler alert here, but I know that, you know, Jeff in the background is also quite interested in helping parents with kids, specifically through this time where we locked down. And, you know, we've got to entertain our little ones. And I know that that's something that everybody's got their minds thinking about, how to involve children in Jeff, because it's such a beautiful process for everyone, not just you with your one-on-one coach. It's for your whole family, you know.
It's people often underestimate the power of how powerful it is, no matter who you are, to make a positive change in your own life, whether you want to lose a little bit of weight or you want to feel more confident or get stronger or run a little bit faster. Those little small psychological wins impact you and everyone around you. And now if you can get your whole family involved in the process of self-betterment, I mean, that's a powerful tool. I mean, like,
it's the best.
Like I've often seen, like, me, because I was like, back when I was a little bit heavier as a teenager, like I was a very unhappy person because like being 150 kilos at 13 is not fun. I'm gonna lay it out there, not fun.
Sure.
So, but the process of like my parents weren't knowledgeable enough to help me. There's a bit of a cultural thing where, it's not that big a deal. He'll grow out of it. So I was largely on my own in the process of fixing it.
Yeah.
So, but there was like a really, like, I grew so much in the process of like, you know what, I'm sick of this. No one's going to help me. I might as well do this myself and figure out how it's done. And just the process of like, okay, I'm going to find, is there a gym in my town? In the entire town, there was one, tiny little one, but I found it, joined that. I'm like, okay, cool. Listen, is there things I can learn? And he was like, oh, we have these magazines. It was Muscle Evolution back then. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
And like he hoarded them, like the gym owner back then, he hoarded those magazines. So I had like every issue for the last 3 years. And I was like, right, I'm gonna read every single issue of this and learn what I need to learn about how to exercise and how to train and all that. And just that process of like making myself better. Like I became more confident, I became happier, I became more charismatic, I was more open to having conversations with people. It's a powerful thing. Actively trying to make yourself better.
It is. I know you've got some lighties on your team as well. Hey,
I got some. What on my team?
Some young guys.
I have right now. I have two. I have one 13-year-old and one 10-year-old that I'm working with.
I met one of them. I think I met Ollie.
Yeah, you met Ollie. Ollie's amazing. Ollie's awesome. Ollie's such a hard worker. That kid.
I want some young ones.
Like it is a different dynamic when you're coaching kids.
Absolutely.
Because like you are going to let them get away with a little bit more. You're not as measurement focused. No. It's not about how much do you weigh. It's not about, like, oh, I see you didn't have broccoli with lunch, No. By just teaching them the process. There's a lot of the why about why we're doing things. So it's like, hey, you've done this today, excellent job. Here's why that's a good thing. So that they learn for themselves. Like, oh, I get why this is important.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to educate them more than coaching them strictly, if that makes sense.
Getting them to make exercise a part of their life, whether it's playing a sport or doing a Jeff exercise or going for a walk with their dog or whatever it is. And then obviously with the nutrition, it's not about, measuring all your food and eating all the right things. It's about, what did you eat today? Why is that a good thing? Why, what could you have done differently? What could have been a better choice? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I'm on your team.
Did you have that donut because it was there or because you were hungry for it? Like, which one was it? Like, self-assess a little bit here. Learn your body. No, man, it's awesome. Like, it's that's what I'm saying. Like, it's absolutely brilliant being like, I every day I wake up, I'm like, I'm in such a privileged position to be able to. And the only reason I became a coach is after, because like, as a newbie in fitness, if you've ever had to coach yourself in it, you spend years making terrible mistakes that you don't even know you're making before you're like, oh crap, now I get it. So the only reason I became a coach was like, okay, I've learned the hard way, so other people don't have to.
If I could, if I could just help people to avoid them having to go through what I went through, I would do it for free. I would spend the rest of my life trying to make sure that nobody made the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
It's awful.
No, it's awful.
The way that you start looking at yourself and speaking to yourself and yo-yo dieting and the relationship that you build with food. It's like, honestly, I actually have no words. But if I could save everyone in the world from developing that relationship with exercise, food, etc., I would. That would be my gift to the world. Is just, okay, obviously there are other important things too, but like, it's difficult to be in a space where you're uneducated and trying to change. It's really difficult.
Yeah. No, it's hard. So, and like platforms like Jeff, like when I was growing up, there was those didn't exist, not largely the way they do now. So it was mostly like it's very hard to figure out what's good information and what's not these days.
No, even when I was in like 2011, I was in Stellenbosch at university, and I remember sort of for the first time in my life, I started sort of picking up a little bit of weight, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I remember being like exposed to this diet where I was eating like a boiled egg and a carrot and a scoop of ice cream or something bizarre. And like, this was like normal. People there was no other way of doing it. Nobody had quite gotten onto the whole like calories in, calories out, like
Yeah.
scientific way about it. It was all about cutting something out. You always had to cut something out, whether it was carbs or fat or whatever it was, or only drinking juices, or I mean, the most bizarre things ever that we had to sit and do. And sorry, now we've got somebody else coming in. I'm live on and you're literally in the camera. Sorry guys, I am not in my own house. But
That
anyway,
is stress.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I can totally get what you're saying. It's and one of my pet peeves nowadays is everybody and their grandmother is an expert at this now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, listen, I lost 5 kilos. I now know exactly how this process works. Let me coach you and let me show you how it's done. And I'll do it for cheaper than all those other experts because I'm not trying to steal your money like that. I'm like, really? You lost 5 kilos, now you're an expert. Bravo.
No. But to be honest, I actually, looking back, I actually started there too. So, I mean, I remember when I was first personal training, still studying psych, had just done like a certificate in nutrition, and like, I'm embarrassed about the knowledge I was imparting with people. And the thing is, though, is that I was like educated to do it. I'd studied personal training, I'd studied like sports nutrition, but like, that's not where your knowledge comes from. As you said in the beginning, like, you coached yourself through this. You had to get to this point. Like, there's trial and error. There's years of experience. Like, that's, and you know, I must say, that's something that I find so inspiring about our team. Like, if you look at everybody on the team, everyone is so educated in what they're passionate about. Like, everyone knows something that you don't know. Like, how amazing is that to work in that environment where I mean, you can be a know-it-all. There's somebody who knows more about the one thing that they're passionate about. Like, in my team alone, I've got Tope, who's got his doctorate in human movement science. I've got Tony, who's a dietitian. I've got, like, you know, Janelle, who's got like a year and a day of experience in like client communication. And like, you know, everyone is just so good at what they do, which is so inspiring.
Yeah. It's actually when I first joined, I was actually like, because I came in, I'm like, oh no, I'm highly qualified. I've been at this a while. I've done a lot. And I walked in, I'm like, oh, here are your colleagues. He has a PhD. He's studying towards one. And instantly I was like, yes, I'm not used to not being the show off in the group. And I'm like, I'm very average here. Like, I am very average. It's weird.
No,
but that just shows you how, like, the collection that Jeff's been able to put together, it's brilliant. No, it's amazing. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's amazing. It's unreal, because not putting any other system down. I know there are other systems that work, but it's very uncommon that you'll find a stable of coaches who are so educated in such a wide variety of things that you're never unattended to. If you've got an injury, they're physiotherapists, they're exercise, you know, they're people who are like, as you said, you got your master's in human movement science and biokinetics. Like, they are dietitians. They are, you know, Kim I think she does like habit. Everyone just knows how to do what they do.
No, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah. But yeah, man, that just shows like the power of like putting a whole bunch of really knowledgeable individuals together. And like there's like you said, like, each one is an expert at something slightly different. So there's a lot of overlap and like covering all our bases. It's actually amazing. And we work together. Like, people actually often realize how often we're like, listen, I have no idea what the answer to that is, but I know who to ask.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't do rehab type stuff, but like, if I pop a message on that group, like, I've got Tope coming back to me in a second with like a whole folder of things that I can tell my clients. And I'm like, thank you.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. Where did the time freaking fly to, man? Like, we've been talking for half an hour already.
Oh, shucks. Okay. So we have to go.
Run through the comment section and see if we have any questions that we might have missed out on. Leslie saying I'm not average. I feel very average. You have no idea how amazing the coaches in this team are. Like that.
You're definitely not average, Ed.
I'm very cool with being average amongst absolute excellence. Like
And
that,
of
that's
course.
fine.
Oh
That
yeah.
that is when you're in a group this elite, being average is still an achievement. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. 100%.
Tandeka is saying she missed me on the Zumba. Yeah, you have to tune in and see. It was like a couple weeks back. You want to see that? I want to see you doing Zumba, actually, AD. Have you done one already?
I have. It was not impressive at all. In fact, it was.
I am definitely going back and checking that out.
It's not a good look on me.
Oh, that is brilliant. No, man, I rate you got moves.
No. Don't get your hopes up.
It could not have been worse than mine. I refuse to believe that.
No, you were amazing. Honestly, like for real.
Everyone keeps saying that, but I didn't watch it back because I watching myself is cringe to me. So I'm like, I'll just take your word for it. I don't want to see. As Marie is saying, I've realized that even though I've lost weight in centimeters, I need to make permanent mind shift to realize it's not the new me, it's the forever me. I love that. That is brilliant.
Absolutely.
It is the forever you. That is good. That is good.
Yeah.
How do we get it across to kids eating habits and benefits? Mine are not understanding and don't want to eat my healthy treats. What would you say to that?
Okay, well, first of all, are your healthy treats nice? Because kids aren't going to eat things that aren't nice. If you got to add more sweetener, add more sweetener. If you need to drizzle some honey over it, drizzle some honey over it. But I think what's so important is that children learn by example. It's actually called operant conditioning. It's like a full-on, it's behavior psychology. When you do, kids learn. So do and they'll follow. If you're eating healthily and you're only dishing healthy food, eventually, you lose that taste for real sugar and real sweetness, and you start enjoying like the fruit and the various healthy snacks that you're making. So don't stop. Persist at it and keep showing by example. They'll get there.
Okay, Lauren, I hope that answered your question. I think Leslie said in the other chat, I only ever have healthy, I'm paraphrasing, but say I only ever have healthy stuff around. So if they don't eat that, they starve. So eventually they got no choice.
Yeah, good. But that does work. I mean, as Ed said, let kids be kids. Like sometimes they gotta, but they also need to understand why it's not good for them, and not just because of body image, and not because of sugar's bad for your teeth. Sugar gives you like this really big like energy boost, and then you just drop. So maybe if like they're doing a run or a walk or the big walk at school, or they've got sports day, then on those occasions it's important to explain why maybe some glucose sweets are good and things like that. It's all just about educating them.
I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, they weren't like, we didn't have all the treats and stuff we have now. Yeah. And kids were kids back then, and they were fine. Yeah, they'll deal. They will deal. Yeah. Okay, and then Catherine saying, at least through healthier lifestyles, we as adults and parents are trying to adapt and encourage our children to do the same. Yes, ma'am.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
That's what it's about.
As we said, they learn by example. So if you're doing it, they will. Rarely see a child struggling with lifestyle choices when parents make good ones. The issue only really comes in when they're seeing their parents unable to sort of find a healthy lifestyle, and you'll often notice in those cases that children are then in that same predicament. But like very rarely will you see a healthy family with like a really unhealthy child. I mean, obviously barring that it's but I'm talking about lifestyle in terms of healthy, not
yes.
I think unpreventable illnesses.
That's just unfortunate luck of the draw with that one.
Yeah, no, exactly. But like you won't. Let's talk about it in terms of like weight, for example. You very rarely will find like a child who's like really struggling with childhood obesity in a family where they're like teaching children to eat healthily and they're serving healthy food and they're giving the right portion sizes. It would normally come from sort of learning those behaviors from your family. But again, sure. nothing unsolvable, like nothing that you can't undo. In the same way that you can do it for yourself, your child can also learn those things.
And it's speaking from someone who was there. I wish I had gone through this process between 10 and 13 as opposed to between, I think I started around 17, 18. It's a lot easier the younger you are.
Yeah, it is. It is. Ooh, excuse me.
But listen, that is about all we have time for. Time freaking flies around here. So listen, if you guys have any questions we did not address, please pop them into the comment section. Me and AD will be
DM us.
Oh, DM us. We'll be surfing through. If you guys want to get a hold of us, our numbers will be in the chat as well. It's been freaking awesome touching base with you again.
Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. It's so nice, like, you know, being able to share bits of myself and answer questions, etc.
So yeah, there'll be more opportunities coming soon. But until then, adios, folks.
Adios.